So I'm doing a review for this book. It's Parenting with Purpose by Aileen Jarvis and Rowan Roffe. So I was asked to review this parenting book, and I want to say first that writing a book is a huge achievement, and I don't want to discount the amount of work that I'm sure has gone into producing this book. But I have been asked to give an honest review. I don't think this was the parenting book for me. The book seemed to have a fairly positive message, but the delivery of that message was muddled and unclear. This book would really benefit from professional editing. I found the style of language too informal, and the book would sometimes flit around between different themes. I spent a while trying to work out what the parenting style being advocated was. I thought it was a blend of conservative structured parenting, but more softly. I say I think because it really wasn't very clear. And that was an ongoing problem with the book. I found it hard to fully grasp exactly what they were advising. At times, the book seemed very hard on parents. Remember, we're not robots. Most of us are struggling to work out who we are and what we're doing. Statements like don't get annoyed or be present and so on. Most parents don't get annoyed or fail to be present with their children by choice. So I feel that most people will need more constructive support than merely statements. At times, I felt the methods discussed were spot on. And at other times, I felt it was either too soft or sometimes too harsh. I found some of the advice really confusing, such as suggestions that when your child wants to do something on their own, such as getting dressed or washed, don't get annoyed when they have their clothes on wrong or tip out all the shampoo. And I'm thinking, wouldn't you be giving them some suggestive guidance? And they tipped out all the shampoo? Yes, get annoyed. You don't need to be an arsehole about it, but they need to know that that's not what we do. The general parenting approach seemed positive. Listen to children, following their interests, not being angry or violent with them. It also seemed conservative in that it said you should be a strong parent, the leader, and not let your child have the last word. I think it will be a bit of a juggling act to get those two approaches to work together. If it works for people, bravo. I just don't see how that will work practically. Be led by their interests and lead them. Listen to them and don't let them have the last word. I'm going to need a lot more practical advice to pull that off. The anecdotal stories threw me because I couldn't really relate to any of them. One of my particular favourites was the example that you should stay calm and not express anger when you catch your child drinking from the toilet. Who the hell has had this experience? And don't lose your calm. Oh, hello dear, I see you've got your head round where I just did a shit. Lovely. They then suggest that the kid probably feels dehydrated. If your kid is drinking out of the toilet instead of asking for a drink, I think you have more basic parenting issues. I got the impression that the authors were coming from a very strict parenting background, and I felt that we were on different parenting spectrums. For example, the authors spoke about how awful it is when your kid says a curse word that they learnt from someone. Yeah, sorry, that was my kid. But I just don't care. Swearing doesn't mean much to me. Tipping out all my shampoo, that bothers me. I'm guessing that the writers of the book grew up with very strict parents and they're trying to find a way to soften that style. Therefore, it may be much more relevant to other parents who also had strict upbringings but want to find a gentler way to raise their children without losing the structure of a strict household. I don't fit into this category, and although there was some useful advice in the book, I couldn't relate to most of it. I liked that there was a chapter on different parenting styles. However, the descriptions of the parenting styles were very biased. This is where we find out what parenting style they are advocating, and it's obvious because the writers are so biased towards it. The parenting style is called authoritative. I haven't heard of this. It seems to be most like authoritarian parenting, but a nicer, softer version. Apparently, they are easygoing and disciplined. It seems to be that they want their kids to be independent and high achieving, but they don't want to use force or coercion to achieve that. Who doesn't want that? How to get to that is the tricky part, and I don't think this book really made that journey any clearer. I probably come under the attachment parenting style, although I don't think I fit that stereotype, but then who does? This is how biased the parenting style descriptions were. They claimed that attachment parenting involves an excessive obsession with the child. Thanks. They also claimed in horror that the parents might even co-sleep. Dun dun dun! In the examples of attachment parenting, they offered that when a toddler is scared of monsters under their bed and wants to come into the parent's bed, that a parent would gladly let them in without even consulting their partners. Guilty. I don't want to make their heads explode, but some of us still have our toddlers co-sleeping in our bed all night. Shift up, hubby. The advice in this book continued to be very contradictory, to the point that literally on the same page it jumped from suggesting that parents should allow their children to decide when they do things, such as take a bath, to under the next header jumping to saying that kids benefit from routines and knowing what to expect next. So which is it? Let them lead or lead them? There seemed to be a constant clash of direction throughout the book. And I feel that the writers have tried to cherry pick the best of different parenting techniques, however oppositional they are. And I failed to see how it would work practically. I know I've been quite harsh on this book, and there was lots of good advice and important areas were covered, such as giving time and attention to the child, listening to them, as well as encouraging emotional intelligence and being a leading figure to your child. And there was some good tips throughout the book for parents, whatever their parenting style. There was a strong emphasis on emotional intelligence, which seemed really useful, and I liked the wheel of emotions. And the writers weren't advocating a horrible parenting style. It seemed positive. I just found it confusing. Okay, here it is again. Okay, thank you.